Hi YouTube, Chris the Tinkering Geek, and today I'm going to put my file server out of this tower case into this Rosewill RSV-R4000 rack mount case. And yeah, let's go my new server, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes a little better than the last one. So one of the things I'm going to have to be careful with this is that I already have a hot swap adapter in the front. This is actually Rosewill as well. I'm going to have to be careful when I move it between this case and the next to make sure that I keep the SATA cables in the same order. It's not really practical to keep them all plugged in, so I'm just going to have to take note or label them and make sure I get them in the right order, make sure that I don't have to rebuild the array. Well, and that's everything for the old case. Time to get the new one all set up, and we'll be able to test it out, see how it works. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the big pluses of this thing is it's basically an ATX case on its side. It takes a standard power supply, which is nice for these home builds because you don't require any kind of an odd size power supply. You can basically use whatever you've got around. So for this case, for drives going in the front and the horizontal orientation, it comes with these brackets which let it clip into the side. Quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure how you release them once they're in, so it could be a little interesting at some point when this case gets retired. But yeah, until then, this should stop the drives from sliding out all on their own. Well, not being entirely sure how these are supposed to go, I'm sure this is going to be a bit of trial and error. And actually now having a look at it, looks like there's release tabs only on the one side. So I'm going to try with only putting them on one side of the drive and see if that's enough to secure it in. Realistically, this thing's going in a rack. These things aren't going to be sliding out anytime soon. It's a snug fit either way. And that is all the way in, so we're going to have to take it out and try again. Okay, so now with those clip rails in as far forward as they'll go, give it another try and see if this locks in any better. There we go, I think we have her. So we'll put this second module back in. Now this is actually a good opportunity to show you. So this particular model, and there's a bunch of different configurations available from Newegg, has 2 of these units with fan in the front and 4 drive slots in the back. Not hot swap obviously, but this thing will hold a lot of drives if necessary. So, I do see the first thing I don't really like about this case, which, you know, for $100, it's still a pretty good deal. You can see the 2 brackets here once you've slid it in a little bit, but, you know, this is a server case, it's going in a rack. Realistically, aesthetics are not a big part of the deal here. Always check what the thread of the standoffs is. It seems like a lot of different case manufacturers use different size screws. Some are the coarser screws like you use to attach the expansion cards. Some are the smaller screws like you use to attach the hard drives. This one appears to be the smaller one, so we're going to go ahead and secure down the motherboard now. about finished here. Going to do some rudimentary cable management. Another thing that's not ideal about this case is the fan connectors are these standard Molex white plugs. Now, cables aren't overly long, and it is going to make cable management a little interesting, but, you know, once again, value for the dollar. This is still a very good case. Okay, well, I think that's about everything. The keen observers among you might realize that I did put back in this dual port Intel NIC. This was actually part of an experiment I was doing with virtualizing a router, which I currently have as a separate box right now, so I don't really need to put that back in. Save it for another project at some point in the future. So let's get this thing plugged in and a monitor hooked up and make sure it boots. Okay, time for the moment of truth. We're going to see if this works now. We'll try powering on here. Looking good. And it boots. So all in all, I'd call this a pretty successful project. It worked out a little bit better than the last time I tried to transfer one of my servers into a case. In that case, one of the power wires didn't fit for the CPU due to where the power supply sat in the case. You can see that video on my channel if you want to see that interesting experience. But all in all, for a case for under $100, it's quite solid. It's a lot sturdier than I thought, much stronger build construction. Tolerances are quite acceptable. Fans are cheap, but you know, it's an under $100 case and you can always replace the fans with something better. And you know, I have some minor cosmetic complaints, but really for a server chassis, it gets the job done. It's quite affordable and it's got lots of room for expansion. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the Tinker and Geek with another random project.